Hey guys, welcome back to another What If Hit. Today we are doing a new one. Yes, a new one, because, well, why not do two new What Ifs today? Well, not today, this week I meant to say. And yeah, so, as you've probably read in the title, well, in the title or in the thumbnail, it is What If Kurama Raised Naruto? Part 1. And yeah, a lot of things are definitely going to be different. Put it that way, a lot of things. I may have a ship for Naruto ready, but I'm not really going to say who who it is. But yeah, also in this timeline, Kurama will be a female, as it also says in the title. So yeah, sit back, relax, play a game or whatever, and yeah. Anyway, so we're of course going to start off when the Ninetales attack happens, and well, it's it'd be we'd go until I'm going to go up to Sam until she's going to get sealed, and well, means I was like, Naruto, he seems to, he'd think in his head, Naruto, seems like he could maybe possibly hold, the entire Ninetales, and just, as he's about to seal it, of course, the change would break, and Minato sees that she hesitates for a moment to do something, and that then gives Minato a brand new idea. So Minato starts writing down the key, to the Reaper Death Seal, and would then, English, I wouldn't be expecting this, and would then go, QB, I'm about to seal it, but before that, can I entrust you with something? And she's a bit curious, she's like, what's that? It's like, well, it may be a bit silly to entrust you, or a bit even outlandish to entrust you with this, but, well, of course I'm gonna have to seal you inside my son, because of, there's people out there that are gonna want you to use your power for, more so for evil than good, but I will entrust you with the key to the seal, so it could be unlocked. And so, why'd you entrust me with something like that? It's like, well, I can see you're not all bad, and to be honest, if I was, forced to be sealed and then transferred to another person, then ripped out of nowhere, I would probably go on a rampage. And, well, you probably know this probably a lot better than I do, which is Naruto is a child of prophecy. I think you've realised that. That's why you hesitate to do something. So please also, could you please look after him when I have gone, please? And she kind of nods, and should go, well, if you're okay with that. And yeah, and then, well, it would then, of course, before, well, the frog would be a bit hesitant, would do these, thing jump down, into her mouth, then, yeah, who knows where it goes then, but yeah, and, slimy, I hate slimy stuff, yeah, and Well, then of course he would perform the Reaper Death Seal, and just as he does that, Kushner's chains fully come, just all collapse, and the shield goes down, and then of course other people start rushing in, and well, of course that's a bit far away, and Kurama after these words, I'm sorry, okay, some of it seems like I'm gonna have to pace it to look like I'm truly on a rampage. And he's like, no problem, I'm about to die anyway, so just, I guess, speed up the process. And Kushner can see that, and Kushner even hide it, so she's just like, well, she's like, screw as she jumps in front of it, just like, to make it look like, what kind of happening, like, canon, where, like, now goes through both of them, and Minato would then, of course, do, finish the seal. But this time, Kushner wouldn't tell the fellow Kage Hiruzen would just go, Kushner, where's the Nine Tails? What's happened? Come on, please, just don't die. So she's like, sorry, and we managed to beat it. We've managed to beat it. She then passes away. And you'd see the marks on Naruto. I should say at least protect Naruto or raise him, something along those lines. And he sees, and he kind of guesses that she sealed it within, like they've sealed it inside of him, but inside of Naruto, but didn't tell him, which indicate to him that don't tell no one. And so he won't tell nobody or no. Up until he's around 3 years old, then the orphanage would kick him out. Why? Well, because there'd be rumours going about that he's maybe like something to do with Fox, like, oh, he's like the Fox's son, or he's the Fox incarnated, something like that, something that's stupid. And of course Donzo would be spreading it, and so not Donzo, the Hiruzen Velkage would be like, you'd go up, maybe want to check on the boy, and well, he wouldn't be there, he'd be outraged, he'd be angry, and you'd tell them that no, that it was just normal, that was just a birth defect, and they would quickly kind of go, I'm sorry, okay, I didn't know. But you should have asked me first. Who told you that? Who gave you that information? All that fake information now. Otherwise, you'll be thrown in jail for what you've done. So it was done. So he came in saying that we should kick him out, as he was like the demon reincarnated. The demon fox reincarnated, because he had whiskers. It's like and he'd call for his arm boom and tell them to go look for Naruto. And he would go, what are you going to do, Kage-sama? He's like, well, I'm going to go to Donzo and arrest him. He'll be sentenced to life in jail for what he has done. And so that's what you do. I would cut over to like Naruto on the streets with, some people, picking on him and that. So he'd eventually find himself still in Konoha, but like in like Konoha's forest. Well, that's inside the gates, inside the village, and he'd end up passing out And at that exact same time, Kuma would pull him into his mindscape, and he'd then go, well, am I? Hello, anyone there? As he would shakily go down, and also would wonder, where am I? And it would then reach the end, which of course would be a gigantic gate with with the kanji letter seal on it, and you'd looking, and what would be looking back would be a girl around 5'10", looking back at him, and you'd go, who are you? Where am I? So well, first you're in your mindscape, Naruto, and secondly, I am the nine-tails fox, and of course, but that's impossible. The Hokage told me that you died. It's like, well, no, I'm still very much alive. Your parents, they sealed me inside of you. Your dad sealed me inside of you so that one day I could, because he saw one day in the future that, that you'd need my power, and also he asked me to protect you. So what? But he said, but the Hokage is like, Zuko, don't take everyone's word for certain, Naruto. You are a very special person, to say the least, Naruto. And yeah, and from now on, I will help raise you. I may be sealed inside of you, but I'll be able to communicate to you. And yeah, and so from that day onwards, they would, he'd actually live in the forest, and he'd make a little underground hidden home. And and she would also of course teach him about chakra control and that. So when he's around 4 years old, Kuma would go, well, I think it's about time that I taught you how my transformation jutsu. It's like, you're going to teach me your transformation jutsu? It's like, really? It's like, yes, this one, unlike what what ninjas use, which is a genjutsu, this will truly transform you into the animal or creature that you want to become. So if I want to become a cat, I can truly become a cat, and then it's like if I wanted to become a male version of me, I could. And yeah, and so that's what Naruto would well, after a couple of days, Naruto would get it down, and so you'd be able to transform into any animal. And you go and go, well, and there's one more thing I'm gonna teach you. What's that? Well, how to understand the language of the animals that you transform into. It's like, why? It's like, well, yeah, you'll be able to, of course, make the sound, but it'd be handy to understand, the animal, the language, so you could, communicate to one another. Plus, it'd be a bonus if you're trying to find someone. You can go to an animal and ask them in their language, hey, have you seen, a person of this height, anywhere recently? And he'd go, oh, well, that would be handy, I guess. Missions and that. And, well, yeah, so, that's what we'd be doing. So then we'd cut when he's 5 years old, and, well, we won't exactly cut when we'd cut to a cat in the village sitting on a rooftop. And people have kind of gotten used to, seeing a cat just on a random rooftop laying there. As well, for at least the past, past 2 months, it's been there. And of course that would be a female cat. Yes, a female cat. But also, it being Naruto. And, well, why? Because, well, why not? It'd allow him to go into the village and pass, Naruto's kind of, Naruto's just got, he prefers to be a cat and why female? I don't know, that's what he prefers. And, yeah. And, well, yeah, it'd just be laying on the roof. Yeah, it would just be laying on the roof until a random gal calls out, a name. And that, gal would, say, Sapphire. Sapphire, where are you? And, well, this is, as a cat would kind of pick up as he'd go, oh, well, I guess, time to go over to her now. And it's go, well, it seems that, you do make, other people happy. She seems to at least enjoy your company, Naruto. Or should I say Sapphire? And it's like, well, I guess either one. That is pretty much my name in this form, I guess. Yeah. And mind you, when Naruto's in his cat form, imagine a blue, a blue and red-haired cat. So yeah. And should of course go down to the gal, which would be a gal similar age to Naruto, 5 years old. But this girl would be, she'd have pink hair, and it'd be Sakura. Sapphire would go to Sakura every so often. And and they would Sakura just say what she's been up to today, and Johnny just sit around. I see you because strokes as it's a bit of a a kind of say relief for her, and that at least some animal is that for her. Yeah, because by this point, because there's people that make fun of her big forehead and that, and so she instead, because the cat came to her one day and, cheered her up, so she called it Sapphire because of the blue fur. And, yeah. And so, and of course, 3 hours would go by as then she would then go, well, I guess I'm getting late now and I need to get home, so I guess I'll see you soon. yeah, I'll see you soon then, Sapphire. As Sapphire just moan, no, it would meow back. Like, of course, kind of, like, agreeing, saying, yeah, I see you, sometime whenever. Because Naruto currently really only understand the cat languages that Steve, first one they had started on, the first one he's started on learning. Yeah, so he would, like, run home then. He'd go off hunting, cook some food then, and then go to sleep, wake up, and then, do pretty much the same thing all over again, and plus, like, training. And that when he's hunting, he tends to go into his human form to get, because it's also like target practice for him for like kunai and shuriken. More so kunais, that's what he prefers to use instead of shuriken. And yeah, then it'd be, we'd go over to him being 6 years old. He hasn't. It'd be like 2 days before the academy. And once again, he'd be laying on the roof. Like just a random roof in the village. And go, you've got 2 days. Well, tomorrow we're going to see, you're going to have to go to the Hokage's office. And then because next day, you'll be going to school for the first time, and do I really have to go to school? It's like, well, it's the ninja school, and you're gonna have to, and like, if you really want to become a ninja, you're gonna have to go to that, if you like it or not. Sapphire, it's like, yeah, but it's like, so I know that the first year is probably going to be boring, as most of it's going to be early chakra training, which obviously, you really can do, and target practice is going to be something everyone's going to do up until they become, until they leave the academy, until they graduate the academy, and I know that, but it's like, well, yeah, and then it's like, as much as I know, you're strong, you're probably like Naruto, you are strong, you're the strongest person at your age. Someone at your age shouldn't be this strong, period, but because of, it's like, because of because of stuff that could happen in the future. It's like, yeah, I know. It's like, but still, it's like, hey, I let you go out as a cat, and just it's like, well, yeah, you told me to go out of the house, and so I just, cat. It's like, yeah, but I let you go out as a female cat. It's like, yeah, well, it's like, well, yeah, but you can stop me. It's like, yeah, I know. And yeah. And yeah. And as you'd of course see then a certain one-eyed ninja with grey hair, being Kakashi. And she'd go, oh, well, I guess I can go to Kakashi. I've got nothing really going on today. I should she'd jump from roof to roof down to Kakashi's, and then meow at Kakashi's. Kakashi's like, you're here again. You're here today as well. And she's she's visited Kakashi around 10-20 times, so Kakashi's just just kind of vented out stuff, and also he's also because of highs, she's also had Kakashi become less depressed because he's he's not as depressed as in canon currently, and he's slowly coming to terms with it, and and after some time, would pass after talking about maybe like some of the past, and he has told not Kurama, Sapphire / Naruto, that he'd say he'd go roughly around 6 years ago, I was meant to be, roughly around, no, you'd say roughly around, you'd say 6 years ago, so the demon fox attacked our village, and I lost 2 people who were important to me, and they were the fourth Hokage, Minato. He was a great person, and his wife Kushina. They were like a family to me when I lost mine. And then 3 years later, because the Minato entrusted me to look after Naruto, his baby boy, and seems like what I can do is fail him countless time, as I was meant to look after him and that make sure nobody hurt him or that, and I don't know where he is. Neither does the neither does the fellow Kage. We're looking for him all the time, but we just can't find him, and he'd break down. That'd be that'd be sometime in the past. But and mind you, 2 days before that, Kurama had told Naruto who his parents were, because why not? It posed really no harm to him, and she just made Sappho just made of course Kakashi feel just happier, about what's gone on in his life. It made he's slowly getting over the things of the past, and after that, after some time, some time would pass, and then they would separate. Naruto, Sapphire / Naruto going off to hunt for food, and then of course, get food, eat, cook it, eat it, then go to sleep, and that. And then the next day, of course, Kurama would go, "Come on, Naruto, time to get up." But I don't wanna. It's like, come on, you have to get up, because we'll be going to the Hokage's office today, and plus you need to have a bath before you go there. He's like, oh, fine. It's like, now get up now. It's like, fine, I'm going up. As he pretty much jumps out of bed. It's like, say I'm up. As he would then go over, get washed. You have a quick shower, get washed, and that. And he's like, yeah, but I don't really bathing or showering. It's like, well, it's partly my fault considering I let you transform into a cat. I guess like the cat's instincts are starting to rub off into you. It's like, well, I can't help it. I just prefer being a cat, and plus it's just a lot easier to get around. It's like, yeah, I know it's a lot easier to get around, but still. So yeah, anyway, and and as he leaves, of course, for him to leave, he has to transform into a snake. Just live out of the tiny hole. Mind you, his house, which he dug underground, is like, it's tall enough, like, for a roughly 5'10" human to be in. But yeah, when he's in the house, he's generally in his human form, his bath form. Yeah, unless he's going outside, then he's either he's rarely in a dog form. Mind you, he can speak cat, dog, and he's learning how to speak snake at the moment. Learn how to speak it and understand it. And yeah, and so to live throughout the doors, it's just wide enough for a snake to go through. Then you transform into a human, walk all the way to the edge of the forest, and then transform into a cat and run off. Then, as you do, and then you'd quickly approach it, and so you'd go, Naruto, you may want to, transform. You may want to kind of transform into human form before reaching the Okage's office, because I don't think, the receptionist would be quite surprised if a talking cat wanted to see, the Okage's. I know there are, talking cats out there, because they're summons, but it's not every day. You can see and hear a talking cat. And it's like, fine. Yeah, I guess I'll have to. As you jump down into an alleyway and transform into around 5'10" person. Not the current Naruto, because Naruto is currently only 6, but it'd be a person that looks, say, around the 20s. Yeah. And that's only, so you can get to Okage's office, and mind you, he's close already, so you can, get there, and then, ask to see the Okage. And so, after a couple minutes, you'd get to the Okage's office, and he goes up to the receptionist and goes, either, can I see, is the Okage busy? I, must see him, and plus he's maybe also expecting me. I was just okay, I'll check if he's busy now. I should, go and go, Okage, something, there's someone that wants to see us. He's like, okay, well, let them in then. And so going, okay, Okage. She'd go back and go, yes, the Okage will see you now. As he'd go in and Naruto, go and he'd shut the door and just says to the Okage, what would you like to, what do you want to see me for? Before you can say a word, before a word can come out of his mouth, Naruto will de-transform into his normal form, his Naruto form as we see him in canon. And Hokage go, Naruto? It's Naruto, well, that's what people call me. And Hokage, Where have you been? I've been looking for you for 3 years straight. And it's like, oh, don't worry, I've been living in the forest. It's like, you've been, but like, it's like, my uncle, I've been looking for you, even in the forest, and they've said I haven't found no one. Saying, oh, well, it's a hidden house. Like, it literally doesn't look, it's literally, like, yeah, you wouldn't find it no matter what, so, there's that going for it. Like, yeah. Anyway, it's like, yeah. And you'd kind of talk to what he's been up to, and he'd also talk about, like Kurama, mind you, you'd say, like, the nine-tailed fox, even though he doesn't like to, he'd rather use a name. He has to say that, like that, because he and plus Kurama wouldn't, want to get a name out just yet. And yeah, and he'd go, well, there is another person I'd like you to meet with, and he'd go, and guess that other person is Kakashi, and he'd go, how do you know that? It's like, how do you know that? It's like, well, I'll tell you sometime in the future. And it's like, well, okay, as he then calls one of his army members as, it's like, can you bring Kakashi, Kakashi here right now, even if he's got, the cat with him, he must be right now. And Naruto just thinks in his head, well, he's not gonna have the cat with him right now because I am the cat. Yeah. And Kakashi, would go, as he opens the door, he'd go, what would you, you called Hokage, Hokage? Naruto? Is that you? And I'd go, well, that's what people call me. Yeah, that's what people have told me that's my name is, so, yeah. And, yeah, he'd just be, he'd be surprised and go, I'd go, well, apparently, he's been living in the forest in a secret hidden house for 3 years straight. And Kakashi's just like a bit dumbfounded. And he's thinking, well, after this, no matter what, he's gonna go and find, the cat so he can go and tell, tell her what's happened, that today. That's what he wants to do. He wants to tell someone, and the only person he can tell is the cat. Yeah. And oh yeah, and so they would, they would speak a bit, and then as they're kind of dismissed, and I'd go, oh yeah, and I might will I be school, isn't school meant to be starting tomorrow? Okay, is yes, yeah, can you meet me here tomorrow, just before school starts, so I can introduce you then to your class and that. And I just well, okay, I'll see you then. Okay, as and they walk as Kakashi and Naruto walking back, and that's Kakashi Sensei, can you come in this alleyway with me for a minute? I wanna show you something that I can't really show or tell nobody else, and only Hokage knows about this. And he's like, okay, and he kind of thinks, I wonder where the cat is, and that go, well, if you're wondering where the cat is that hangs around you, it's well, I'm right here. And you go, what do you mean you're right he, as Naruto would then transform into Sapphire. Sapphire just goes, well, yeah, the cat that's been with you for quite a while, that's, hung around you for a while, well, it's me. And it's like, I can't believe this. It's and it'd be a bit over. It'd be just overwhelmed. It's like, but like it's like, and I'd go, well, Sapphire would go, yeah, well, it's not really genjutsu as you may notice, as, and it's an actual proper physical transformation jutsu, transforming an actual body into a cat. And go, and also in this form, I'm known as Sapphire, as a roughly pink girl around the same age as me, say 6 years old. She named me Sapphire. I assume my blue fur. And they go, well, that does fit you, as you've got mostly blue fur with a bit of red in the fur so often, and well, yeah, and Cashew and Sapphire would go, well, Sapphire would jump up, to on him and kind of sit around his neck and go, well, Cassie, Cassie can pet me if you really want to. You don't have to hold back. You can just treat me how you've always treated me, just like a normal cat that you pet. It's like, but it's like, well, to be honest, I do prefer being a cat, and so yeah, you don't. Oops, sorry guys, the wire on my microphone unplugged. Sorry. Alright. So yeah, Naruto would go, well, I have always preferred being a cat and that, so you don't really have to worry. And he's like, you sure? It's like, yeah, I'm sure anyway. It's like, do you have anywhere, do you have somewhere, can we go to your house so I can tell you, because I have something I do want to tell you. And it's like, well, okay then. And so Kakashi, after a 5-10 minute walk would be at his house as he goes in, and Sapphire jumps off of him onto the bed, onto Kakashi's bed. Onto the sofa, as Kakashi's like, well, what did you want to talk to me about? It's like, well, and we then kind of explain what had happened 3 years ago, and what he's been doing up to now, and also about Kurama, and the little name, and that she's actually a friendly fox, and you'd be quite surprised. You'd go, well, I didn't think Kurama, I didn't know Kurama was actually, it's like, well, yeah, it's like, she was quite, well, it'd be quite understandable, you've been sealed in one person, transferred over to another, then ripped out of that person, you probably are going to be quite angry, at the personal village for doing that. Well, you've just wanted to live, peaceful life. And we'd also, explain, childhood prophecy and that. And, yeah. Well, or at least to what he's heard from Kurama. What Kurama has told him. And, yeah, and you'd go, well, she seemed to have taken, seem to be quite good friends, which I'm guessing, the fourth card is like, you can say his name, you did tell me that, and he's like, oh, right, I did. It's like, don't worry, Kurama told me, sometime before that, and well, it brings no trouble to me. It doesn't matter, because if people are trying to, find this Naruto Uzumaki person, they'll either think with red or yellow hair. They won't think that I'm a cat living in the middle of the forest. Where are they? And he goes, well, I guess not. Having transformation, being able to transform into a cat or I guess any other animal is quite useful when people are trying to come after you. They won't be able to find you because they'll be looking for a person, and well, they could find you. You'd just be someone either completely else or just a cat or a dog or whatever you can transform into. Well, I can transform into anything. Do you mean, well, anything that's alive, any creature out there? So, of course, my favourite is, cat, but I could transform into a dog, a snake. I don't think they have horses, do they? I'm not sure. Dragons, anything, any animal that's alive I can transform into. And you go, yeah. And some time would pass, and I'd go, well, I guess I'm gonna have to, go now as it started to get late, and guess it'd go, well, if you like, I could, I guess, adopt you, and you could live here. And it's like, well, I only have, that one bedroom place and that, so it's like, well, I guess, I can always live here in my, cat form, so the only thing you'd need is, a bed. Just, bed and, well, that's it. Get a cat bed and, well, I'll be happy. I can, do everything else myself. And he's like, oh, well, yeah, I guess so. And so, yeah. And so, well, yeah, Kakashi would then, go, well, I'm gonna go out then and, get a cat bed and some other stuff. It's like, well, okay, I'm gonna, I'm just gonna, go out and about, walk around. It's like, what is your, it's like, well, yeah, it's my cat self, no, it's my normal self. I was, picked on and made fun of as my normal self, so I'm not gonna really, show you that. And go, oh, right, actually, well, yeah, and also before that, you're gonna have to get some clothes for you. So it's like, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to come with you. And it's like, well, no, we can do it tomorrow, because it's getting quite late and some of the shops are gonna be closed now. So, yeah. And to go, well, okay. It's good. Kakashi would go off to, to some stores, and Naruto would, go about. But it's kind of the first time, being transformed, into, a cat at, near sunset, as he's generally in his human form by now, and he's generally in his house, cooking food a lot by this point. And, yeah, and it's a bit strange, I must still see just as it was daylight, and it's going to go, well, naturally you are currently a cat, and cats have got probably one of out of all the animals in the world, the cats have probably got the best night vision out there. And so, well, yeah, as it gets, of course, dark, compared to humans that can't really, see that well at night. You probably see almost like it's, well, not like it's daytime. It will still be dark, but you'll be able to see a lot better at night, and I do mean a lot better. And yeah, and so some time would pass, and then, well, she'd be walking back, and after a couple minutes of walking, she'd come across where she's going to be living now, and she'd find that it's got a little flap at the front of on the floor of the door, which is cat-sized, and she kind of goes, she'd go, oh, what that is, and it's like, well, judging by it seems like a door for you when you're in your cat form, so you can go in and out of the house when you're in like this form. So, well, I guess that'll be handy because I won't have to transform out in public now. And, well, yeah, so you'd walk in, and gosh, you go, you're back. I've got I got like a cat, like the cat flap that you walked in, and got you a cat bed and that, and you'd be like cooking dinner, because why not? I believe he could. And so and she'd go into say, and she'd go, well, she'd go, hey, Kurama, and Kurama would go, what? What do you know now? It's like, well, you said I can only transform into a female, but what if I was like a female, but like, what if I was half cat and half female? It's like, half human. It's like, what do you mean? Well, I keep my ears and tail, but I transform into a female human. Like, I can't explain it, but I guess I'll just have to transform and you see for yourself then. She's like, well, okay. It's like, well, actually, better explanation. Being like how you look, it's like, oh. But instead of, like the fox ears and tails, it would be, cat ears and a cat tail. It's like, oh, like, but because my age, but girl is like, why are you so fascinated, like, in being a guy? It's like, well, because when I master your power, you said, like, I'd have to get used to being, like, a girl when I use your power, so I thought, well, it'd be better off starting off early, because otherwise if I start training later on, I may get more, it may be more uncomfortable. So, well, you've got me there, Naruto, you've got me there, fine. So, well, considering you're still technically not human, it'd be fine too, and I should then transform into like a humanoid cat, and with nice blue hair, with like a nice blue tail, with like with the tip of the tail going like blending into red. So yeah. And Cash, then to the living room, front room, whatever you call it. And he's like, oh, I didn't know you could transform into that. It's like, well, I kind of came up with it now, because I always like being in like like cat, and well, like it also gives me like the most, like cats also like have the most, like has also the best censoring. Yeah, so it's quite nice, and plus I just prefer being a cat as well. So well, yeah, you can understand that. Well, I can understand, you being like, so, you generally hang around a cat, especially around me, and who knows how many others you've hung around with and made, happy and yeah. And so they would eat dinner, and then she would transform back into a cat self and go and lay down on the cat bed, and Cassie would get into bed and he'd go to sleep. Then a couple of hours later she'd wake up to this like sense, like her senses kind of go like, hey, get up, you may want to check on the person that you're like, the person like in the bedroom with you, type deal. And so she'd wake up and she'd jump on the bed, and she'd see Kakashi kind of like in a cold sweat, looking kind of panicked. So she'd touch, kind of touch her head with his, getting like a little head pat with her head, and it seemed like he's kind of calming down a bit. So she'd think, I guess, Kuma's thankfully still asleep, so I'll just have to sleep by Kashi tonight and explain to him what was going, why I'm now somehow with him, sleeping sleeping right next to him in the morning. And so me'd fall off to sleep next to him, and birds would be chirping, and Kakashi would wake up. So Kakashi's like, Kakashi, would stretch out, and then he'd go, Sapphire, I was like, well, I guess he could have gotten up beforehand, and as he puts his arm out, you can feel something warm. And then he kind of grabs it and he's like, what's this? It's small, it's thin. As he yanks it a bit, and then it's like, an immediate scream, and then gets, his arm gets a scratch. Well, it gets a few, like 2 or 3 scratches, as quite a sensitive spot for a cat. You really never want to pull a cat's tail. Mind you, I have no experience on what would happen, but yeah, just common sense. Don't yank on a cat's tail. And yeah, and cat's sorry, Sapphire, but also why are you like that? And so I'd go, well, firstly, don't scratch my, don't tap on my tail again. Secondly, I kind of woke up in the night and saw you in a cold sweat. You looked like panicked, so I came next to you, and once I did and laid next to you, you seemed to calm down, so I just fell asleep right next to you, and you seemed to have calmed down from, I guess, you just having a bad nightmare or that. And so I decided to sleep next to you to see if that helped, and it seemed to. You didn't have to grab my tail to wake me up. So I didn't know. I felt something thin and warm, and was wondering what that was. It's like, yeah, but still, you don't grab, you don't yank on stuff. If you want to know what it is, turn your head. You've got 2 eyes, don't you? So And so, oops, I shouldn't have said that. So, well, no, you're right. I do have two eyes. One, is constantly draining chakra. But don't worry. We've both taken a hit to one another, let's say. So, equal ground, you could say now. And anyway, come on, you need to get that, you need to get up and get dressed before school is like, and go, oh, do I have to? It's like, yes. But, well, first we have to go to the Kage's office, and it's like, oh, fine. Fine, I guess I'll have to. And so he transformed, it'd be his second time seeing, Naruto, and go, wait, but what happened to you? It's like, oh, Kurama taught me some genjutsu, so I simply just used, I'm really still no good with genjutsu, but I used at least a little bit to hide. She taught me enough to be able to hide my whiskers, so that if I did want to, walk around in my human form, I could, without normally seeing, my whiskers and that. So, makes sense, And yeah, so we'd go off, we'd have a shower, and then, dry and get out and have breakfast. Then Kakashi, yeah. And then Kakashi would give him some of his, Kakashi, give him some of his old clothes. Because Naruto would be, Naruto would be, say, slightly taller than, a 6-year-old Sasuke. So, yeah. And Naruto would go, it'd go, let's first get, some stuff so you can, some clothes so you're dressed, and then, yeah. And so, they would then, go shopping, and Naruto would get, some clothes. And, then he'd go off to school. Obviously changing into the clothes he's got now. And he would then, he'd then of course go to Kage's office, and, he'd go, Cassie, can you, I've got a mission here for you, so can you, here it is. It's a simple, D rank, and I'd go, shouldn't Kakashi be able to do some high rank mission? It's like, say yes, he can, but because he's now pretty much, and seeing how you two arrived here together, it seems like you're living with him now. And so, you'd be doing some low rank missions. So, he still gets money, but also, he's not really ever at the village then. And it's like, and that's like, but it's like, put it this way, when you turn 10 Naruto, then Kakashi can, then now let Kakashi, go back on. Maybe maybe C ranks? Yeah. C ranks escort missions and that, but missions that are that will take maybe a day at most to complete. So we'll hopefully always be back in the village. Hopefully, if not, then you'll be back in the village time you come back home from school the next day. And that. And it's like, okay. As long as Kakashi's happy with it. So I'd rather be here for you. So and go, he'd go, oh, thanks Kakashi Sensei. Well, no Kakashi. And yeah, and so Kakashi then go, well, I'm off now. It's like, I'll pick you up after school now, okay? So it's like, okay. Yeah, okay, Kakashi, and goes, and Kakashi leaves, and Naruto goes, well, okay, like, are we going, I guess you're going to take me to school now. And the guy's like, yeah, as much as you may not want to, Naruto, you're going to have to go. So, well, yeah, I guess so. And so, you take Naruto to the academy and introduce everyone to Naruto, and Naruto's like, well, no, you'd at least introduce Naruto to his classroom teacher. And mind you, in this time, well, yeah, one after, yeah. And yeah. Well, no, yeah, just saying that, there's no dons who influence anywhere, and doesn't really know that Naruto has the Nine Tails, because, well, A, nobody knows that, and B, Donzo's in prison, so, yeah. Mind you, like, not even, well, nobody knows, only the Hokage and Kakashi, and Kakashi hasn't told the Hokage that he knows. Because the Hokage doesn't know that now. Well, no, he does know. Well, anyway, so yeah, so they would go to the school, and you'd introduce. Well, yeah, and then of course the teacher, go up, introduce yourself to everyone as he'd introduce himself. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and he'd go through what he likes and dislikes, and yeah, I won't tell you what he likes and dislikes. Yeah, that will be in part 2. But yeah, and yeah, and well. Yeah, you'd go out, the teachers go, well, you can sit anywhere, and, fancy, and the class will begin. And all the classes, is to kind of get to know everyone, and then after that will be, a kind of rough test to see how good they are with, Shuriken and Kunai. And so after everyone's introduced themselves and that, they go outside, and you go around now, and when so, and you'd explain why he's outside, so why they're outside, and you go, well, we're outside today, we're outside, and because you're new, and I need to at least know how good you are with throwing kunai and shuriken and that. And whereas up until now, I'd say Sasuke is first and Kiba's second. But yeah, that's only way because nobody's really come along to rival them yet in any way. And yeah, so everyone would go one by one, of course with various degrees of, with various degrees of successful of actually getting onto the target, and some just straight up flying to the tree behind or into the post that the target's sitting on. Well, yeah, on. Yeah. And then it'd be Sasuke's turn, and so Sasuke you'd get around, say, on a centimetre, from each one, from the bullseye, and Kurama just go, well, because I don't know how everyone's performance, you're gonna be top of this class now, though. And it's like, well, how strong do you want me to do? It's like, well, just so it's in. It's like, just so it's in. It's like, yeah, just so it's in, you know, you don't need to like fight any harder. It's like, well, okay, you know, okay, Kurama. And the the teacher would go, okay, next up, Naruto Uzumaki. And so Naruto would get up, and it's like, well, yeah, he'd go up, he'd pick up 3 kunai from it, because there's 3 targets. And yeah, he'd close his eyes, and you know, people are like, well, there's no way you can be better than Sasuke, there's no way you can. Yeah, nobody's better than Sasuke. That kind of, you know, thinking. And, you know, Uku's just like, well, it's a lot easier considering it's not a moving target, but even then, moving target's easy for me now. As he visualizes where it is, where everything is, he gets it down to like nanometers accuracy. That's how good he's gotten with like Shogun and Kunai. Because, you know, he's been hunting for 6 years, well, not for 6 years, for around 3 years. So he's gotten quite good with nailing, like, you know, where to one-hit kill. And yeah, and so he'd then open his eyes and he'd throw kunai. And, oh yeah, he'd throw all 3 of them at once, and each one would hit dead center on the bullseye. Mind you, they'd be in, but they won't be like right the way through, because he just, you know, he doesn't want to. Well, it's not doesn't want to, he's already asked Kurama, you know, how much to show off of his strength. And then it's like, oh, like, that's just a fluke. Sasuke could have done better, and Sasuke's just thinking to himself, how is this possible? Nobody's better than me. Nobody's better than the Chica. He must have just gotten lucky. Because by this point, you know, he's already kind of in his emo state. So the clan massacre has already happened. And yeah, I think that happened around when he was 4. But yeah. And, well, yeah, and then, of course, the teacher would go, well, okay, now can you do that again, but with 3 shuriken. So he'd go over, he'd pick up 3 shuriken, and he'd close his eyes again, and then open them and throw them, as he's, you know, got everything. And, you know, they would do a bit of an arc, which is the most efficient way to throw something. There's pretty much 2 ways. There's either throw it in a straight line, which you'll have to throw it very hard and very strong, or you do it in a I forget what it's called, pow something. It's an arc, it's exactly an arc. And so, you know, you'd aim for the perfect kind of like range to, yeah, like the perfect kind of like power to range ratio. Because the flatter you get, the more power you need, and the height, then of course up to, I think it's like 45 degrees is best. Then any degree higher you have to use more power to get it to go to the same distance. So you do 45 degrees and, you know, throw what looks like soft, and the proctor would think, the teacher would go, whoa, you know, I didn't think, you know, anyone could do that at this young of an age. I didn't think no one, you know, would understand, you know, this kind of stuff. Most ninjas tend to just go, you know, hard and fast. No, and of course they would all hit bullseyes again, as you'd throw them all, you know, at once. Go, this kid, he's a prodigy. It's like, he's damn smart. And yeah, and oh yeah, and then of course the light teacher would go, well, you'd look, you know, you'd probably look at the time and then go, well, you know, like break time, so they would have their lunch, and also, like some people, would be, going around getting to know one another, as Naruto would just climb up a tree and lay on it, and why not, he'd lay on the branch, and Kurama's like, I guess, no matter how much, like how much I try limiting you to, you always seem to be doing stuff like that. It's like, well, I like it. It's maybe not the most comfiest, but it's, it's nice just being up here. I can, see everything around me and that. And yeah. And so, yeah, of course. And, well, like, I pass from it, like, going, like, look up and go, huh. And go, hey there, you're Naruto, right? And Naruto go, huh? Yeah, so jump down from his branch and go, and, sorry, who are you again? And you go, I'm Shikamaru. It's like, so you're the, so you seem to be, a bit on the lazy side. It's like, well, you can't say much. I saw you, pretty much sleeping, what it looked like to me. It's like, well, it's boring. So I already know most of that stuff. It's like, I thought so. Choji, be with and hi there, Choji. And it's that, and I'd go, hi there, Choji, I'm Naruto, and they would, introduce herself, and so, those who would, start hanging, out, they would, they'd become good friends. And yeah, and so, when of course, end of the day, then, of course, the teacher would call them all in, and so they would all get up from where they were. And yeah, and well, they would all go in. They would sit down. And, they would sit down where they were, and and then the teacher would go out. For now, for the last lesson of the day will be mock battles. Sparring matches between, you, so it'd be one-on-one battles. 2 months views, it'd be decided by me. And yeah, so they'd, go outside. And Sasuke's like, I hope I'm going, Sasuke would be, Sasuke would think, I hope I go against him so I can, see how strong he is and teach him we're the best clan. The Uchiha clan is the best of them all. And no wannabe can be better than me. And yeah, and so, they would, run through everyone, and Shikamaru would go, I wish, Akamaru, I wish I could have gone against, that new Naruto kid, I think his name was, that new kid, and Naruto would, and not Naruto, and Akamaru would go, give off a, kind of an agreement, back in agreement, and I'd go, so he's got a dog. Yeah. So, well, he doesn't really exactly seem that friendly. So I'm gonna stay, maybe away from him. If he wants to become friends, then sure, but otherwise, I'm gonna keep away from him for now. And yeah. And so, after a couple more matches, Cheats should go, and the last one for today will be Sasuke Uchiha and Naruto Uzumaki as they walk into the ring. And this is you may use anything you want, just don't kill one another. Yeah. And they like, agree to it. Like, okay, let's go. Well, I'll try not to. Yeah. Yeah. Which someone kind of realizes, like, you try not to kill him? Like, what? You can't be serious. And the girl's like, come on, Sasuke, you can beat him. Yeah. You're the strongest one here. They're screaming off the top of their lungs, trying to, be louder than one another. And Naruto will just look at them and go, can you please be quiet? As this is a battle, not a yelling competition now. As the class would kind of break out into a bit of a laughter, making fun out of them, as Sakura and I forgot the other name. Yeah, and the other one would quiet down, but I'd still go, come on, Sasuke, beat him. Yeah. And Sasuke's like, they'll never learn. Yeah. And Pat to go, well, go. Or fight whatever whatever the person would say, to start a match. Yeah. And so they would, or at least Sasuke will be trying to hit Naruto as Naruto's kind of like slowly falling asleep. And as he's just avoiding him, as he's trained with Kurama, and Kurama is quite a harsh teacher. Yeah. And so he's he's like slowly nod off, and he'll like give out a yawn and go, oh, come on, Sasuke, I thought, you always comes only like the Uchihas are the best clan, and no. Well, seems like, you're wrong. They seem to be the weakest clan. What though? As he let out another yawn. And it just be making Sasuke angry. And, Fangirl, you really want to shout right now, but, they've already been made fun of once, and they'll probably be made fun of again. So they're deciding not to right now. And, and after, a good minute, Sasuke will go, fine then, 5-star fireball jutsu, as the punch is about to, call it. Naruto's like, oh? You grab kunai from his pouch, and you go, well, I think he's roughly there. He points at it, dead where Sasuke is. I'm pretty sure he's right there right now. So I aim it roughly there, and you throw it. So at high speed, it gets stuck into the concrete, but rips past Sasuke, just grazing him, just drawing out a bit of blood from his cheek. As Sasuke's like, as he'd fall onto the floor. Mind you, the wind, rushing, the kunai just rushing past him. So the sheer, wind would also come and knock him, into the wall, and he'd fall onto the, and he'd, fall into the wall, and be and the teacher's like, Naruto Uzumaki wins, as he would, get like a medical ninja, and they'd be healing Sasuke, and it's just like, damn, Naruto, he's strong. Yeah, to be able to, do that, and just by looking how, and the, medical ninja's like, it's nothing serious, it's just literally like it grazed him just enough to draw, the tiniest amount of blood. But I bet that stings, as that's probably more like a giant, that's more like a, giant long paper cut than, And she's like, oh, but don't worry, it'll it'll heal up, and like they of course heal it up. Yeah, and so the years would go by, Oh no, not quite yet. I'm not going to do this time skip yet. So, of course, then they come after that, and everyone was kind of walking back. Sasuke's left, and of course Kakashi would come and pick up Naruto. Yes. Kakashi would come and pick up Naruto. Thought I said somebody else then. And Guy would be there picking up Lee, because why not? Cause, by this point, sure, Guy doesn't have his team yet, as Lee's only 7, because I'm pretty sure Team Guy or Team, I think they're 11. Yeah, Team 11 or that is only like a year older than like Team 7. When Team 7 was born, they're only a year older than, yeah. And so, Guy would see Kakashi there, and he would, go over to Kakashi and go, Kakashi, my rival, what are you doing here on this fine, afternoon? It's like, have you got a describe all that? And Kakashi go, well, no, nothing like that, Guy. It's more like, I've adopted, well, it's more like I'm looking after someone. And Guy would go, oh? And he'd go, and Kakashi go, and I see you're here to pick up Lee, are you? It's like, yes, I'll always be here to pick up Lee. Yeah. And Kakashi's just like, okay. Okay. Yeah. And so, they would all come out, and they'd go, Guy Sensei. Well, no, so Naruto would come out first, and Naruto, go, Kakashi. As the teacher goes, wait, right, no, but it's last night. It's like, well, maybe he's adopted. Yeah, it must be, but then if that's his adopted father, then it makes sense. He's only that strong. That's Kakashi's son, and he's copied over 1,000 ninjutsu. So it only makes sense he's that strong. Oh my god, he could have killed Sasuke. Yeah, he's like, no wonder why he's that strong. He's pretty much got the strongest ninja that's alive currently in Konoha. Oh yeah, he's like, oh my god. Yeah. He teaches pretty much having a mini panic attack just seeing Kakashi. And yeah. And because Kakashi's, besides from being famous the world over, yeah. And of course then Lee would come out a second or two later, and Lee would go over Guy he'd go over to, of course, Guy Sensei, and he'd go, Guy Sensei, he'd go, Lee, Guy Sensei, and I was just like, Kakashi, what am I seeing? This must be genjutsu, and release, it's not releasing, what am I seeing? Yeah. And everyone else is just looking in the opposite direction, and Kakashi is just chuckling to himself, and Kurama's just laughing her head off. And Kakashi's like, Naruto, it's not a genjutsu, this is just how they are, and that's like, nah, this must be, but it's not releasing, so it must be too. No. Yeah. After a minute of that, I think everyone's gone finished. Yeah, their little thing, whatever that was, they do is over, and it's like, oh, thank God it's over. And, Guy would go over to Naruto and go, huh, so, yeah, so you're Kakashi's pupil, are you? And I'd go, well, no, I'm just living with Kakashi. It's like, oh, it's like, well, you could say he adopted me. I don't really know what you could say, but yeah, I'm currently living with him. So yeah. And Lee was like, oh, you seem strong, can we spar, can we, and Naruto would look over to Kakashi, and Kakashi would go, sure, it's up to you, I don't mind, it's up to you. Naruto would go, sure, why not, Lee? You seem strong yourself. And yeah, and so they would walk down to a random, say to training ground, I don't know, training ground 10, a unused training ground, a training ground that's currently unused. And yeah, and so, and so, Kakashi would, start the match. As they seem equal at first, but, Kakashi can quite easily see that Naruto is holding back quite a fair amount. And after a bit, Naruto would get a kunai between, on Lee's neck, and he's like, you and Naruto, you're a strong person. And Lee's like, Lee, gets a bit sad, and Naruto is like, well, Lee, if you keep on practicing, you'll get strong one day. You may even get stronger than, Guy Sensei. You may get stronger than your sensei. And he's like, well, yeah. And he's, at least thankful for at least trying to make him feel a bit better. Yeah. And, and then after that, Naruto and, Kakashi would go, how about we go to Training Ground 7? It's like, why to Training Ground 7? We're already on Training Ground. It's like, nah, you could have for Training Ground 7. So, okay, sure, why not? So they'd walk over to Training Ground 7. And Kakashi's like, I'm currently curious to see your current strength, where you're at. Say maybe kunai. It's like I did it at school. Mind you, I was holding back in school, so I didn't want to destroy property. But yeah, it's like, okay, I want to see how good you are. And it's like, okay. And you go. Do you want me to go all out or next? He did want to see what I can do, and it's like, yeah, go all out. Well, all out, and just don't use my power. It's like, well, you haven't even trained me in your power yet. It's like, oh right, I haven't yet, haven't I? And he's like, oh yeah, just go all out and I'd go, okay. And that would close his eyes, and just as he's about to throw just as he's about to throw it, he'd open his eyes just before he throws it, and he'd go, Kakashi, there's someone watching us. It's like, what? And Kakashi would go, come out from there now. Yeah. And Guy would go, whoa there, like, whoa, well, it's like, and Kakashi goes, Guy, why are you there? I thought you was, going to train Lee. It's like, well, I had him do, I had him do 100 laps around Konoha. And that's good. Don't you think that's a bit extreme, and guys like, no, that's going easy on the boy. That's going easy on him. He can easily do 1,000 laps within a day. After it's just like, oh god, how insane they are. And Kurama just goes, well, from your speed and your stamina, you could probably easily do, a cool 1,000,000 to 10 million laps a day. And it's like depending, and can go out in your human form. If you're in your cat form, or if you transform into your fastest cat form, then I'd probably say, well, considering how that cat race is, you'd probably get around maybe 10 laps to do because of how they are, but they are quite fast. But yeah, anyway, yeah. Well, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, and just as he's like, okay, hopefully nobody else comes now, and so just as he's as he pictures it in his head, he sent somebody else, and he goes over. He goes, whoever's over there now, get out of the bushes, otherwise I'm gonna kill you. And the guy is like, whoa, what now? Whoa, okay, you got me, calm down there. And like Cashin guy like, Hokage, why are you? He's like, Hokage was like, well, I wanted to go for a stroll, and when I saw yous here, then with Naruto, I thought, I'll just, go and watch until Naruto here sensed me. And he'd go, fine, as long as nobody else is here, as long as nobody else will come. And this time nobody comes, so he's finally able to picture it, and as it's around 100 meters away. It's like, okay, so 100 meters away, and he kind of brings back his body and his arm, and he's like, okay, so Bullseye, as he opens his eyes and flings it, as he turns his body to get even more speed, and he flings it as hard as he can, as though it vanishes as it goes. It's a dead bullseye as it flies right through the post and right through the bullseye, the target, and the wood, through 2 trees, and blows right through a boulder, then gets stuck in the tree behind the boulder. It gets quite lodged in there. And Cassy's like, they're just like, they're just speechless at that. That's something else. Yeah. Yeah, like Kakashi and damn it, and the Hokage, they can understand because he's been hunting, and if a tree's in your way, and like trees in the path, if that tree wasn't there, you'd get a perfect kill. I guess you'd have to develop the strength to be able to fling a kunai right through a tree to get your kill. And that's what he's had to do sometimes. And the guy goes, well, I guess that makes sense why there's now. You'd go, well, I guess that explains why there's like some trees with kunai, like perfect kunai holes right the way through them. I guess that explains it. Yeah. It's like it's perfect width and size for a kunai to go through. Yeah, smoothly. And up until now, we never knew what caused them and why. Now he knows. Yeah. And so, of course, after that, everyone started dispersing. And after everyone leaves, Naruto transform into his cat form and jump onto Kakashi, as Kakashi's like, oh well, I guess we can, go him now. I'd say, yeah, it's Kakashi should go, well, I guess once we get back you can explain to me what you've done today. No, so what I've done is beat up a person, or you could say beat up 2 people, and flung some kunai shokun into bullseyes today. Yeah. It's like, well, no, I want something more in depth than that Naruto, and it's like, fine. Yeah. And it's, Naruto can fall asleep, or Sapphire would fall asleep. Yeah, purring in Kakashi's arms. And Kakashi's just slowly, just stroking her a bit, and as he jumps, through the trees and then the houses to get to his. As he walks through the door, and he just rubs underneath it, and come on, wakey, we're back. And she's let's see, kind of strikes out a bit as he jumps out of his arms and then transforms into a humanoid cat form. Yeah. Well, no, she transformed then into a human form, not into a male form, into Naruto. And Naruto would walk over, he'd get changed. Oh yeah, he'd get changed and that into his cat form. Well, yeah, catty. Well, after getting undressed, he'd then transform into his humanoid cat form, and then put on some female clothes, because he is in female, and Tommy does that. So yeah, after getting dressed again, he'd come out, and and Cass would be and Naruto would explain what he's done today. And Cass would go, well, considering stuff about Naruto's well, I didn't mean to cut Sasuke. It's just seemed he seemed to think that he was the best, and that's so I wanted to take him down the bag. I didn't mean to cut him, and I said, well, I don't really think you have to worry, because those medical ninja are right. And I'd go, well, that's what the teacher said. Yeah, so everything was alright. So you should probably already thought that some people could get hurt, so he had one on standby just in case. And well, yeah. And so that happened, and some years would go by. 12, well, no, not 12 years. That would make him 18. No, what? Yes, it would. 6 years would go by, so he's 12, and that's when I'm going to end it. So if you want to know what team does our boy Naruto end up on, you're just going to have to find out in the next part. So if you have enjoyed this part, guys, well, this what if, and this part, you've enjoyed such animals and more just like this, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next what if, or video, the power do, and hey, good bye.